This show is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. The content on this show is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such condition.
This is Rooted in Healing with Dr. Beth Claxton, exploring the science of functional medicine and the power of healing from within. Breathe in. Breathe out. And now your host, Dr. Beth Claxton.
Good morning. This is Dr. Beth. Welcome back to another episode of Rooted in Healing on KAZM. Today I have with us one of my friends, old friends, Flagstaff friends, Deb Lash. And Deb and I have known each other decades, and it all goes back to a yoga studio that was on the third floor of a tall downtown Flagstaff building. Well, 3 stories is tall in Flagstaff. At least it was in those days. And it was this pretty small space when you think of yoga studios. The floor was very old and rickety and wooden. And the connections that were made there were profound. It was called the Yoga Experience, and I wanted to do a shout out to my Kula group of yogis and teachers from that blessed site from so long ago. It will always be a part of my memory. And Deb has had a very interesting journey. She was in sales and driving all over the place, and found herself with lower back pain, which many of us who are not even driving but sitting much of our day at the computer find ourselves in. She was supposed to have surgery, as she'll tell you, and she canceled it the Friday before it was supposed to happen on Monday morning, and she found a way around it. So she tells her story today. I think it's so fascinating. We actually met again in Zion at a yoga retreat, and she gave a short foundation training class. And I got to experience it myself, how simple and yet profound these postures are. And when we think about healing, sometimes we think it has to be complicated. Sometimes we think that it has to be like Western medicine has created, that it has to be someone who knows more than you, someone who can do more than you, complicated procedures, a high expense. It doesn't necessarily need to be that. Oftentimes the most simple things can be the most profound, like sitting in silence, like eating very simple foods, and in this case, doing some very simple, basic movements with the body that get the muscles in the back and the posterior muscles of the legs, hips, and back aligned in a way that they aren't accustomed to being aligned when we're sitting all the time, or driving, or flying all over the world in airplanes. So I would invite you to listen to Deb's interview today. And if you're driving, we do a little demonstration in the middle. I encourage you to find this interview when you're not driving. If you're in your hotel room or at home or over the weekend, you can find it on Apple Podcasts. Well, you found it. So because you're listening, but it's available on Apple Podcasts. It's also on KAZM's website. And do this posture, and you will see that some very basic, simple movement can be profoundly alleviating to stress on the back. We also talk about her journey with sound healing and sound baths, which I think is fascinating as well. Please tune in. Don't go away. Just fill up your cup of coffee and come right back. to hear this lovely interview with Deb Lash on Rooted in Healing.
And now, more Rooted in Healing with Dr. Beth Claxton.
Welcome back. We have with us today Deb Lash of Sound and Movement Alchemy. Deb has been providing help for athletes, first responders, and healthcare workers, artists, and people on the daily grind, counteracting the wear and tear on their bodies and finding relief for long-term pain, realigning their bodies to function more fluidly through the practice of foundation training since 2015. She's studied yoga and movement since 2003, becoming a certified yoga teacher as well as a primal movement chains coach, coupling this work with vibrational and sound immersion since 2019. So lovely. And her sound and vibration has flourished with the trainings in yoga with Sedona Awakenings. And she also had a 2-week study of mantra and yatra across northern India, 2018. Her mission is to improve our planet's vibrations by uplifting and guiding people to tap into their light and power. She believes it is possible through sound immersions, spiritually, and with movement physically. That's so beautiful. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Deb and I have known each other for several decades, and we were together in that yoga studio doing yoga teacher trainings, and
immersions.
Yeah, so fun. It was good old days. And then we reconnected at a yoga retreat a couple of weeks ago, and her path and my paths, we just keep digging into what's happening and taking our challenges and learning from them and going out and helping people with that. Yeah. So I'd love to hear your story. Can you tell us your story? It's so beautiful.
Sure. I had a career in sales in the dental field and drove 35,000 miles a year for 34 years. And
how many hours is that a day?
Some days it would be 12 or 14. Some days it would be 6. You know, it just depended on my territory, where I was in the territory. But about halfway through my career, I had debilitating sciatic pain down my right leg, and then lost feeling in most of my toes on my right foot, and would drag my toe and break my toes a lot. I tried just kept moving. The only thing I really could do was get a bike ride in where I wasn't in pain, but I couldn't get on or off my bike without assistance because I couldn't get my leg over. But at least I could ride my bike. And then after about 10 months, I went to see a neurologist, and he scheduled me for a decompression. I have stenosis between all of the segments of my spine, and I had 2 herniations at the time. So I had a customer, a dentist in Camp Verde, who was more holistic, and he followed Dr. Mercola's protocols a lot of times, and he listened to Dr. Mercola talk with Dr. Eric Goodman, who founded and started Foundation Training. He had his first book. The doctor in Camp Verde bought me the book, and that was 12 years ago. So that was before anything was really on the internet. I had the book. I ordered the DVDs. I started doing the exercises on my own as best I could, and I found with just a couple of them, like, tremendous relief. And eventually, the Friday afternoon before I was scheduled for the surgery on Monday, I called and canceled. And I don't regret that one bit. Doesn't mean that I won't have to have a surgery someday, but I'm consistent with the exercises, and I've changed movement patterns. I've become stronger, and I don't think I'll ever have to have it.
So you had 2 herniated discs and spinal stenosis, which most people would think that that is irreversible, chronic, and it's only going to get worse. So this is why they move on to surgery. So how do you think this helped? What happened?
Well, one of the principles is called decompression breathing. And it's an intense way of breath moving through the torso to decompress the spine. So you're doing your own decompression. So think of hanging, on an inversion table. That's basically what you're doing, is making space in the spine. And so if you're doing the breath on your own, it's not easy, but it's also increasing this space in the spine and in the torso. It gives you space for your organs. I mean, it's a win-win, but it's not easy. And so I think I'm just stubborn enough that I have this, and I also have a passion for us being our own healers. So the decompression was a big, big part of it. And that's, if you're a person in pain, that's what you start with.
And do you think that surgery, even though you don't have to do as much work when you're the one having surgery, do you think that would have led to the place that you are today?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, if I had found this modality of foundation training after the surgery, maybe. But I think it replaced the surgery. So doing that work consistently is the key. And never getting to a point where you think that you don't need to do it again. You don't need to do it anymore, because that's not going to happen.
No. It's like you can't have a salad and think that that's enough for the rest of your life.
True. That's
you
so
have
true.
to eat healthy every day.
Right.
Have your steamed vegetables. So while we're on this, how do people find foundation training online?
They have a fabulous website, www.foundationtraining.com. You can go there and find trainers all over the world. And in Northern Arizona, there are 3 that will come up on that site. There's 2 of us actively teaching in Flagstaff. There are people down in the valley teaching. They also have a streaming app that you can download and pay monthly subscription to.
So you don't even really need to see a trainer.
No. I mean, it's always recommended to
helpful.
Start with someone, even if it's a Zoom or some sort of private. If you're not in the area of a trainer, try and schedule something private with one, just to get the basic fundamentals and principles, and then work from there. And then do a check-in maybe 3 or 4 months later. Yeah. But, for me, I have fun teaching it. I teach a weekly class, and I find when people do come to class, they always feel better when they leave.
I know I felt so much better when we did the foundations class at the yoga retreat a couple weeks ago.
Good.
It felt really good. And can you tell us the story about Dave, your husband?
Sure.
Because I remember Dave. I remember when you guys got together, and he just seemed like he was a mess.
Yeah, he had degenerative discs from the lumbar to the sacral area, and he says it's not from running, but he was an ultra runner for many, many years. and ended up seeing a neurosurgeon in Flagstaff and went in for, he has 2 titanium rods, supporting from the sacrum to the lumbar section. And he's extremely fit and a huge cyclist, and really didn't even do PT after the surgery. Nathan just told him to get on his bike like he would, and he would ride for 10 minutes, and then the next day he'd ride for 12 minutes, and that's just how he is. He's super motivated and driven. But he, people always warned that once you have that fusion, then above that could go, and, just on the line all the way up the spine. And he's super strong. He does foundation training. He does it more when he's starting to feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It's not a daily practice for him. So he can actually get off his bike and do a couple of founders and then be out of that uncomfortable mode and feel like he's got relief. So I'd say the torso for him is super strong.
Yeah.
Where his weakness is shoulders. And that's kind of showing up now from being a cyclist for so long. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had his surgery, and how long after his surgery was it that you brought foundation and training into his life?
It was probably 6 years.
So how was he after his surgery before foundation training?
He was good.
Yeah?
He was good. Mm-hmm.
But then when things started going sideways, like he might be looking at another surgery, like
when
happens.
He starts to feel, and we're fighting gravity every day, mm-hmm. and he's 75, right? Mm-hmm. So he's had a longer time that he's fought gravity, and eventually, something gives.
He looks so good for 75.
Yeah.
He has a radiant personality of like 30.
He's very youthful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Can you tell us about Dr. Goodman?
Eric Goodman, along with a personal trainer named Peter Park, wrote the very first book just called Foundation Training. And Eric Goodman, I don't have his timeline written down or memorized, but he was an athlete. He played water polo in college. He's from Santa Barbara. Went to chiropractic school. But as a kid athlete, he always had back pain. And then throughout chiropractic school, still would go into these like flat out, like he couldn't move type of episodes with his back. And he had, I think he said, 2 recommendations for total fusions. He has degenerative disc disease at a very young age, and he was super determined to not do surgery. So he worked with Peter Park. They developed some exercises, and the first one, or the main exercise, is called a founder, and he discovered it in a yoga class doing chair pose, Utkatasana. Mm-hmm. When he realized that he was hinging the hips back, he got relief in his lower back.
And so everybody understands what chair pose is. It's when you're standing in yoga and then you just bend your knees and put your butt back like you're sitting in a chair, but there's no chair there, mm-hmm. and you hold it. Mm-hmm. And if you can, you extend your arms over your head and pull your shoulders back, and it's also known as fierce pose, right?
Fierce pose, yeah.
Because it's fiercely hard and fiercely hot. Yes. And fiercely sweaty.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
If you hold it long enough. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So he wrote his first book. The endorsement on the book was from Lance Armstrong, because Peter Park was Lance Armstrong's trainer. So then he decided to start teaching it to his buddies, a lot of chiropractor buddies, personal trainers. They are all surfers, so a lot of surfers are on the beach doing it in Santa Barbara. And it just started escalating in drawing attention, and then came up with a training program. And I did the training program in 2015, I think, 2014, in Santa Barbara. And that was after, I had become stronger from doing the DVDs and the book, and just was super fascinated with how well it helped me. And it also helped in my profession that I shared it with the dental professionals, because let's face it, dentists, dental hygienists, dental assistants, they're all in those chairs all day, hunched over a patient's mouth.
Exactly, they're crouched over.
Crouched over. Thank goodness for the popularity of wearing loops now. That has helped a lot of the doctors by not having to hunch over. Yeah,
loops are glasses that have little bitty magnifying glasses in them as well, that lets you sit up straight. You can have a little longer focal length.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I shared it with lots of customers. I ended up teaching classes in dental offices and just playing around with different, incorporating some of the exercises into my yoga classes, and people felt better. People felt a difference.
Yeah, and we do all sit so often, and you were sitting in your car.
Yes.
6 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah, yeah. And I already filed for disability through my company, for my insurance, because I was like, I can't do this anymore. I couldn't walk.
Did you relinquish it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have here describing foundation training is it's based on tracing back to the weakness and imbalance in the muscles of the posterior chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk about the posterior chain. I think we hear this sort of thrown around by personal trainers and people that talk about sports and on podcasts, but can we get into what is the posterior chain so people really understand what that is?
I'll do my best. I'm not a medical professional.
I can help you out. Maybe.
Okay. Maybe. I mean, think about starting with the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back muscles, all the deep paraspinal muscles, serratus, all the way up the back of the torso to the shoulders to the base of the skull.
Yeah, so everybody listening, this is everything that's in contact with a chair when you're sitting.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the posterior chain.
That's great. That's a good description.
Okay.
I like to throw in the base of the skull, because when we engage, when we pull the chin back and we gauge the front of the neck muscles, that actually gives the front of the chest, the lift over the rib cage from those sternocleidomastoid muscles, right, from the base of the skull to the front of the sternum. So then we just kind of, now we're both sitting up straight again.
Yeah.
You think about it.
Yeah, so that's optimal when the base of, when the back of the skull, base of the skull, the nape of the neck is back, the shoulders are back, and the chest can open.
Yes.
That's what we want. We don't do that very much.
We don't. And when we do it, we've been programmed to draw the shoulder blades together on the back to open the front. But in this work, we're not really drawing the shoulder blades together. We're trying to make space between them in that thoracic area. So the more space you can make in the torso, especially in the mid part of the back, the more mobility we'll have in our hips.
That's beautiful.
It's all connected.
And I wanted to throw in there, when I left that yoga retreat a few weeks ago, I had this sensation of having something maybe the size of eggs in my armpits. Like everything was expanded, and the shoulder blades really didn't want to go together.
Right.
It felt like it was lifted and expanded, and the breath was easy. The shoulder movements were easy. There wasn't any popping. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So I think that's...
It's like that balloon underneath the rib cage, inflating, versus using the shoulders and the scapulas to try and get your breath, right? That then takes us in a whole nother system, our nervous system, fight or flight. Right?
I was just thinking that, yes, the sympathetic nervous system keeps us contracted.
Yes.
And that parasympathetic is open, heart open, chest open and expanded, nape of the neck back. Yeah, that's when we can really feel that parasympathetic. And the vagus nerve gets to fire. I'm sure it has more space when the nape of the neck is, in line with.
Yeah. And you're not extending the back of the neck. You're not compressing in the what is it? The sub-occipital triangles, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So when we think about people with a dowager's hump or an early dowager's hump, how their head is coming forward, this is the opposite of that.
Correct.
And bringing it back. And have you worked with people with that kind of posture?
I've worked with people with severe scoliosis.
Because you work at senior residents.
I do. I do. I help seniors at a senior center. But yeah, mainly I've seen good results for scoliosis. I think once a dowager's hump has already become part of the spine, it's really hard to fix that.
But it's a lot easier to prevent it.
Yes, it is. With nutrition and movement.
Yep, and foundation training. So let's talk about the principles of foundation training.
Okay. So I mentioned the first one, decompression breathing, and it's basically expanding the lungs under the rib cage 360 degrees. It's keeping the muscles and the tissues around the rib cage engaged to avoid collapsing on your exhale. So everything is staying very erect and supported. The second is anchoring. And we do that from the soles of our feet or the arch of the foot. And it is an engagement of a chain of muscles through the inner part of the leg all the way to the base of the pelvis, or the outer part of the leg, depending on whether you're doing an inner or an outer anchor. And then the third is called integration. And usually when we're using integration, we're hinging the hips. So we're doing a hinge of the hips without bending the knees and using the quads or the glutes.
So sort of like just bending forward just from the hips. But
actually, it's taking the hips back.
Yeah, and the knees are a little soft.
Yeah,
right?
We keep the joints unlocked in all of the moves. And that also has to do with fascia and the whole fascia line. So yeah, the joints stay unlocked, but they're engaged.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there any kind of a position that you can talk us through, something simple?
Sure. I think so.
Yeah.
I could talk you through the founder, which is the main exercise. Something to remember is we work with internal rotation of the hips instead of external rotation. Unless, of course, you're doing, like a squat, wide leg squat, right? We want to turn the toes out a little bit,
so
even in this work.
Internal rotation is pigeon-toed.
Yeah.
External rotation would be like a ballet dancer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm going to stand up and let Deb talk me through it.
Okay. All right. So she's going to stand with the outside edges of our feet parallel to each other, and then bringing the big toes in to touch each other. Yeah. So that works all the way up the leg into the hip socket. And immediately you'll start to feel like the front of your hip flexor moving back slightly. You've already got a hinge.
Yeah, and it feels like the outside of my hips are really relaxed and open.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The knees are unlocked. And then the gaze is forward. The heart is open and the chest is lifted. The shoulders stay externally rotated. And then the only movement is actually from the hips taking your seat back. So you're not going to sit in the chair and use your quads. You're just drawing the tailbone back. Like, imagine I have a string at the base of your seat and I'm just pulling the string back. You're keeping your chest lifted. Yeah.
And you don't want your quads to engage
No.
the front of your thighs.
No, you want it all to be happening in the lower back. So you'll start to feel a little fire in those muscles when you're in it. Your chest is still lifted. Yeah. And then you'll squeeze your inner thighs and knees together. So that line of muscles, inner thighs, working all the way up to the base of the pelvis, the pubic symphysis. And you breathe. And that's it.
It's such a simple posture. And as I observe people walking around, and I know I do it myself, so many of us walk around with our toes pointing out just a little bit.
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of compression
In the lower
in the
back.
lower back, yeah. And this just opens that up. So,
It does.
So if you're driving, I encourage you to go to KAZM's website or Apple Podcast and replay this and try it at home.
Yeah, yeah. You could even, if you aren't able to be standing, you could take your water bottle, place it between your knees, scoot your hips away from the back of the seat, but feet flat on the floor, put a bottle right between the inner thighs towards your knees, bring your big toes to touch. Just hang on to the water bottle. Don't let it fall.
You can do that on an airplane.
Yeah, definitely.
International flight.
Definitely. I've been known to get up in the aisle many times and do founders on a flight.
So how many types of exercises are there like this?
Right now, there's approximately 30, and each of them have these different layers. Usually about 3 layers for each exercise. It just increases the intensity. And I've been doing it at least 12 years, and it never gets easy. It's always a challenge. And if I'm starting to feel like I've been doing something long enough that it's not much of a challenge, I can add a layer.
And I want to add, too, it's not super challenging. It's not that level of challenging where you really have to get geared up to want to go do it.
No, you can do it in your jeans and barefoot.
Yeah.
You don't have to have any equipment.
That's what I was just doing.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. It's all isometric, creating stability in the major joints.
So there's no equipment unless you want to have your water bottle. And it's all isometric, so there's no pumping. There's no real sweating necessarily. You don't have to be in athletic clothes. You can just get out at a rest stop and do it if you're driving.
Correct.
You can stand up in the aisle of an airplane and do it. Yeah, very, very portable.
Yeah, yeah. That's another beauty of this whole thing is, yeah, if you have a yoga mat and you want to use it, you can. but you don't have to.
So if you just had a few postures in your back pocket, you could go far.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Okay, how often do you do these exercises?
Consciously, probably 2 times a week, where I do like a protocol of actual exercises. But I think I'm probably doing the exercises 1,000 times a week because I've changed movement patterns. So I tend to now do things where at least my hips are parallel or internally rotated versus external rotation. Even when I'm walking and hiking, I try to keep my feet all 10 toes pointing forward. So if that just helps you when you're hiking, instead of letting your toes point out like duck feet, if you can just keep your all 10 toes going forward, it's going to be better for your lower back.
So after doing this for 10 years or longer, you really changed your posture and your movement.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's helping you just by doing that every day. You're improving your spinal stenosis and compressed discs. Have you had any studies since that one that showed the compressed discs?
I have had imaging.
Yeah.
And I would say after a couple of years of like doing this really religiously, like I was doing it every day because I was trying to heal myself, right? I actually got 1/4 of an inch taller. Yeah. Now that I'm 66, I'm going back down.
Gravity.
Right. Gravity, like I said. But I had imaging done about 7 years ago in Flagstaff, and I wanted to see where I was in relation to when I was scheduled for surgery. It wasn't with the same doctor. The original neurosurgeon did not have my records any longer because I'd been no longer active after so many years. What is it, 6 or 7 years? So we couldn't really do a comparison, but when he looked at my x-rays, he didn't do an MRI, he did x-rays. He just said, "What do you want from me? What do you want?"
He didn't see anything
No.
operable.
No.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was kind of, I was just trying to figure out, like, how am I in my career? Do I need to think about, like, making some changes, go to a different capacity with my company? I was trying to, like, see if I needed to develop something new. And he just said, what do you want from me?
That's beautiful. It was the spinal stenosis still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the discs, said they found their way back?
Yeah, they found their way back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're so dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's new to this and they're not Deb Lash, who has worked it into her daily movement, how often do they need to do these exercises?
Well, it depends on their diagnosis, their
severity of
prognosis.
symptoms.
Yeah, severity of symptoms. If they've got herniations, I'd say there's like 2 things they should do for 5 minutes a day for a couple months, and not try to do any of the standing stuff until they feel like they have mastered some of the floor stuff. So everybody's different, but I would go we tend to be super driven, and
Yes.
I'm
More is better.
Yeah, more is better, but really less is better.
Mm-hmm. Less is more. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 10 minutes a day.
Wow, you could do that in the shower while you're brushing your teeth.
You can do the floor work. You could actually do it in your bed before you get out of bed in the morning.
Perfect. And since it's getting to be winter, no one wants to get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
And tell us about your teaching schedule.
Right now, I teach on Mondays in Flagstaff at 12:30 at the Meadows Senior Center. I do privates, I do workshops, and available for all of that.
Yeah. How do people find you?
My website is soundandmovementalchemy.com. My schedule is on the Google Calendar from there. And they can always email me from that website. And yeah, I can point people in the right direction, hopefully.
Great. Thank you. And since we have time, I want to ask you about your sound baths.
Ooh.
Deb gives beautiful sound baths with glass bowls and Native American flute.
Thank you.
How long have you been doing that?
2018. I went to a workshop here in Sedona, and I had been meditating on what it was next that I needed to do. I felt like I had the physical, like I did a primal movement chains training, which is amazing groundwork. But I knew there was something else that I needed to add. And so that just opened my eyes. And I immediately dove in and did a full-time, bought crystal singing bowls, and did a training in Sedona with the same people, which was a 4-day training. And then during the pandemic, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to do that in public. So I explored some online trainings and did those. You can do those all over the place.
And how did you find your way to this, and what has it done for you?
It's giving me a tool or some tools to not only feel the vibrations energetically and what happens when you work with frequencies and vibrations. There's it goes on to a really deep cellular level, because we're made up of so much water, and this vibrational effect can rearrange things. It can help people who have, anxiety and stress. It can help people that are just trying to process grief or live a more intentional life and have the ability to get into that relaxed mode of, and go into maybe a meditation. The Native American flute has changed me mentally and emotionally more than the bowls, because it is the one thing that when I'm playing the flute, I can't be anywhere else. When I'm doing the bowls, I'm still paying attention to what's going on in the space, right? And how people's energy is reacting. But the flute is just, I'm inward, and the breath is a big part of that. And it takes me to another level. So I love sharing that. I love sharing primitive type instruments, drums, of course, and gongs are beautiful. But I tend to play softer. It's not a super chaotic sound bath when I do them, because that's what I prefer. So there have been times I do have 2 gongs, but if we're doing, a Kundalini combined breath work, then we'll throw in the gongs, right? But doing sound is a gift. I feel like I had the ability to buy the bowls because they're not cheap. And at the time I was able to purchase what I needed, and to be able to share that with people is a huge gift, not only for them, but for me.
I've found that with people who give sound baths. And I have an experience being at a sound bath at a meditation retreat. We were sitting a lot, and one day we went and sat, and the teacher started playing these bowls, and there were some glass ones and some metal ones, and it was actually pretty nice to have something else to focus on instead of your thoughts or the pain in your body or whatever was happening inside of you. And then at the end, when it was over, it was about 40 minutes. I stood up and I almost fell over.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had no idea how profoundly it had affected at the cellular level. Like something had really shifted. So I encourage anyone listening, if you've never been to a sound bath, it's worth experiencing.
It is. It is. And make sure it aligns with you energetically, because I think there's a lot of people doing sound journeys, sound baths, especially here in Sedona. Make sure it aligns with you energetically. So ask questions prior to going, because I've had people occasionally, they'll say, I did a sound bath and it was just so weird. I couldn't handle it. It made me feel this way or that way. And so I encourage you to just do a little bit of research and make sure it aligns with you energetically.
Very good advice. So probably the person who would be delivering the sound bath would be the one you would want to align with.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Great. Is there anything else you'd like to add on foundation training or sound baths?
The only thing, besides being incredibly grateful to you for having me on this interview, we all have the capacity to heal ourselves, whether it be with our food, nutrition, movement. Of course, there will always be things that we need medical intervention for, and I'm not disregarding that at all. But I've had people come to class and they're like, well, I'll see you next week. And then they come and it's just repeating a pattern. They don't actually do anything in between. So there's homework, right? And that's hard to get people to understand. It's like taking your vitamins in the morning. It's like taking your supplements. Okay, do 10 minutes of it, right?
Brush
your teeth. Do 10 minutes of meditation, right? It's all part of our process of being, having more inspired life for me.
And I think it's also a part of parenting ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Which is hard because especially in our culture, we're so taken care of. We can turn for immediate gratification anywhere.
Right.
And Amazon will deliver the next day.
Yes.
We don't really need to parent ourselves very often.
That's really good. I love that phrase.
But yes, we are going to do our foundation training today.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming, Deb. And
my pleasure.
Joining us at the studio and sharing your story. I hope it's inspiring to everybody.
Me too.
Thanks for tuning in, and we will be right back. You've been listening to Rooted in Healing on KAZM 106 FM, 780 AM, Saturday mornings at 9. We'll be right back.
And now, more Rooted in Healing with Dr. Beth Claxton.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. I wanted to also give a plug for the yoga retreat where Deb and I saw each other again, and I really got to learn about what she's been doing in the last few years. That is Asana Adventures. Asana Adventures offers yoga retreats all around the world, and this one is a standard one that's been going on for the past 15 years in Zion in the fall. So asanaadventures.com, ASANA. And Deb Lash's website is soundandmovementalchemy.com. alchemy.com. Alchemy is ALCHEMY. soundandmovementalchemy.com. And Foundation Training, their website is www.foundationtraining.org. I would tell anyone, if you are considering surgery for chronic back pain, it's worth your 10 minutes and $50 to take a look at this and try some of these exercises and see how it works for you. And if you want to talk more about it, you can always reach out to me at bethclaxtonmd.com. We can get you on a wellness journey. I'm offering 3, 6, and 9-month programs with a deep dive into detox, nutrition, movement, with really supportive mentoring, and deep dives into functional medicine to help you reestablish where you want to go in life, your trajectory. And next week, we will return on Saturday morning at 9. Hope to see you there on KAZM 106.5 FM and 780 AM. And until then, keep looking for whatever makes you feel vibrant, like Deb did with her music. That is where we find our true healing.